In 2018, Mortal Engines hit theaters and disappeared so quickly that almost nobody saw how it ended. But that's not even the saddest part. The saddest part is that the movie never reached the story's true ending. Tom and Hester's story doesn't end with the first book. It ends 16 years later, on a battlefield, with both of them choosing each other for the very last time. Today, I'm going to tell you everything the movie never did. Mortal Engines, Predator's Gold, Infernal Devices, and A Darkling Plain. The true ending, exactly the way Philip Reeve wrote it. The story begins with the great city of London hunting down the small mining town of Salthook. Inside the city, Tom, a low-class apprentice historian, spends his days scavenging technology from conquered towns, until Hester Shaw suddenly appears in the crowd. Her face is hidden behind a red scarf. Her target is Thaddeus Valentine himself, London's most respected archaeologist and Tom's personal hero. Without hesitation, Tom saves Valentine and chases after the attacker. But when he finally catches her, he discovers a disfigured young woman who delivers a sentence that shatters everything he believes. Ask Valentine what he did to Hester Shaw. Tom returns to Valentine and, completely unaware of the truth, repeats Hester's message to him. Valentine's response is immediate and brutal. He throws Tom down a garbage chute straight out of the city. In a single moment, Tom goes from model citizen to disposable trash. Now stranded in the hunting ground below, he's forced to team up with the girl who tried to murder his mentor if he wants to survive the deadly wasteland outside London. But the outside world is nothing like the one Tom knows. And before long, they're captured by slave traders who drag them to an auction in another city. Luckily, Anna Fang appears. She's a pilot, a smuggler, and a sworn enemy of the Traction City system. She rescues them, but brings terrifying news. Valentine is rebuilding Medusa, an ancient weapon capable of erasing entire cities from existence, and he plans to use it against the static settlements of the world. Anna proposes infiltrating London to sabotage the weapon. They'll use Hester's insider knowledge and Tom's technical skills to pull it off. But before the plan can begin, an even greater threat catches up to them. Shrike, a stalker, a reanimated corpse sealed inside a metal body. London's mayor sent him to kill Hester and anyone traveling with her. After narrowly escaping, Hester confesses to Tom that Shrike was the one who raised her after Valentine murdered her parents. Their brief moment of peace doesn't last long, and during their next encounter with Shrike, he unexpectedly saves them only to reveal the horrifying reason behind it. The mayor had promised to turn Hester into a creature like him, and Shrike truly believed he was saving her from the pain of being human. Tom discovers Valentine has infiltrated the Anti-Traction League. In a desperate move, Valentine murders Anna Fang. And with Anna's death, the Resistance loses its final hope. The fleet of airships is destroyed, and the shield protecting the static cities collapses. Valentine returns to London. Tom and Hester follow close behind, determined to stop the catastrophe. Hester had spent years trying to escape this moment, and now it had finally arrived. Valentine tries to finish what he started the day he attacked her as a child. But fate has other plans. His daughter Catherine steps into the attack and is mortally wounded. As she falls, she collapses onto the controls of Medusa. Valentine had gained everything, only to lose the one person he truly loved. His own daughter had just sealed the fate of London. Amid the explosions, Tom and Hester escape aboard Anna Fang's airship. London burns behind them as they fly toward a future neither of them had planned for. They survived. But the world that created all that chaos was still out there, and sooner or later, it would find them again. 2 years later, we're introduced to Anchorage. Once a wealthy city, it was nearly wiped out by a biological weapon from the ancient world that exterminated most of its population. Now Anchorage is a dying city crawling through the snow, easy prey for larger predators. That's why its leader, Freya, makes a desperate decision. They'll follow the instructions from a mysterious book to search for the fertile lands of the dead continent. In this new chapter of their lives, Tom and Hester are wandering traders aboard the Jenny Hanover. During one of their journeys, they learn that the slave city of Archangel is offering a massive gold reward to anyone who can reveal Anchorage's location. Rumor has it, the city possesses a map leading to the dead continent. In the floating city of Airhaven, Tom and Hester meet Nimrod Pennyroyal, the author of the books guiding Anchorage. He begs to join them so he can escape his debts, promising them a fortune in return. Hester knows Pennyroyal is a fraud, but Tom once again chooses to believe the story. The journey turns disastrous when they're attacked by the Green Storm, a radical faction that worships the late Anna Fang. During the escape, Tom pulls off a near-suicidal maneuver straight into an ice storm. The ship is torn apart, leaving them stranded in the Arctic wasteland. That's when they're rescued by Anchorage itself, the hidden city everyone has been searching for. Tom quickly becomes fascinated by Anchorage and its leader, Freya, sparking jealousy in Hester. Meanwhile, Freya is amazed to have the famous author of the navigation book standing before her, and she appoints Pennyroyal as the city's head navigator. But while Tom embraces their potential new home, Hester feels more disconnected than ever. Driven by her rejection of the city, she ventures deep into the underbelly of Anchorage, where she discovers that the so-called ghosts lurking in the lower levels are actually a feral gang of abandoned children. They were sent by their leader, Uncle, to steal the map to America. One of the lost boys, a child named Call, befriends Hester and secretly begins helping her. Tom quickly becomes one of Anchorage's heroes. But while he grows closer to both the city and its leader, Freya, Hester's entire world begins to fall apart. Hester has spent her whole life believing she was a mistake, too broken, too angry, too difficult to love. Tom was the only proof that wasn't true, the only person who had chosen her knowing exactly who she really was. And then she sees him kissing Freya, a queen, someone who belongs in the bright, beautiful world Hester could never be part of. In that moment, she stops thinking about Anchorage or the innocent people living there. All she can think is that Tom was always going to choose something better than her. Pain doesn't look for a way out. It looks for someone to hurt. So Hester contacts Archangel. She gives them Anchorage's location. Her only demand is that Tom be handed over to her. Nobody in Anchorage realizes that the person who just sealed the city's fate isn't an outside enemy. It's someone who once loved them, and who was already too broken inside to care anymore. And Hester's plans are interrupted when the green storm captures her. There, she discovers something horrifying. They've revived Anna Fang as a stalker. She no longer remembers who she was and has become a ruthless leader. Meanwhile, Tom uncovers the truth about Pennyroyal. His books are a complete fraud built on stolen information and fake maps. But just as Tom prepares to confront him, he runs into the Lost Boys, who take him to their leader. The man tells Tom that if he steals something for him in return, he'll have a chance to save Hester from the green storm. But Uncle's real plan was always to get rid of Tom and steal the stalker version of Anna for himself. The only reason the plan fails is because Call creates a distraction and helps Tom escape. During the chase, Stalker Fang comes face to face with Tom, and something inside her mechanical mind short-circuits. In that moment, she turns against the green storm leader and, in a strange moment of artificial mercy, allows Tom and Hester to reach the Jenny Haniver and escape. Meanwhile, back in Anchorage, Freya catches Pennyroyal sending a message begging to be evacuated from the city. Cornered, he finally admits that everything he ever said about America was a lie. Archangel finally finds Anchorage and launches a massacre. Tom and Hester return in the middle of the attack. Hester tries to redeem herself by helping defend the city, but the damage is already done. In the chaos, Pennyroyal discovers Hester's secret. Instead of revealing it, he keeps the information for himself, like a weapon he might need later. Then, in one final act of cowardice, he shoots Tom through the heart and steals his airship. Anchorage barely survives. Archangel, the city that hunted them without mercy, sinks into the ocean, as if the world itself decided to deliver justice. But the victory feels hollow. They've lost their only navigator and have no idea where to go next. Then Call returns. The boy who chose loyalty over fear arrives carrying the map to the fertile lands of America. At last, Anchorage has a future. But Hester is carrying a secret that will eventually destroy everything they've built. After 16 years of peace, everything begins to fall apart again when Wren, the daughter of Tom and Hester, decides to chase her own adventure. She's young, curious, and exactly the kind of target the Lost Boys are looking for, who convince her to steal a mysterious object known as the Tin Book. Wren only wanted an adventure beyond her ordinary life, but she's about to hand over the end of the world. But the Tin Book isn't really a book. It contains the activation codes for Odin, a satellite weapon far more dangerous than Medusa ever was. Stalker Fang knows it, and she's willing to do anything to obtain it and wipe the Traction cities off the face of the earth. Wren tricks Freya into revealing where the book is hidden, but once she steals it and delivers it to the Lost Boys, Call warns everyone that intruders are inside the city. That awakens the most brutal parts of Hester's survival instincts. She kills the intruders without hesitation, But in the chaos, a boy named Fishcake kidnaps Wren. And that's when Hester's past finally catches up with her daughter. They end up in Brighton, a city ruled by the most infamous liar in the world, Nimrod Pennyroyal. He's built a luxurious life on the lies surrounding what happened to Anchorage, and now Wren has fallen into his hands. Meanwhile, on the continent, stalker Fang has become something close to unstoppable. Dr. Zero, the woman who created her, tries to stop her by sending Shrike to assassinate her. But the plan fails in the worst possible way. Fang captures both Wren and the Tin Book, successfully storing Odin's activation codes inside her mechanical mind. The most dangerous weapon in the world is no longer a satellite. Now it lives behind Fang's eyes. Her hatred now has the power to rain destruction from space. Tom and Hester arrive to rescue Wren, but their family is already beginning to fall apart. In an act driven purely by vengeance, Hester abandons little Fishcake, breaking the promise Tom had made to the boy. Hester was willing to save her daughter, even if it meant destroying what was left of her soul. Everything finally falls apart when Pennyroyal, trying to save himself, reveals the truth about Hester's past to Wren. Years ago, Hester was the one who betrayed Anchorage. The secret she had buried for decades had finally come back to destroy everything. Rejected by her daughter and exposed before Tom, Hester flees into the burning ruins. There, Shrike finds her and once again takes her in under his protection. The Green Storm falls under the command of its general, who openly admits that Stalker Fang has completely lost her mind. But the threat isn't gone. On a desolate beach, little Fishcake discovers Fang's shattered remains. And in a desperate attempt to avoid being alone again, the boy decides to bring her back. In that moment, Fishcake unknowingly puts humanity's future at risk by awakening the monster once more. 6 months later, the world lives under an uneasy peace. The General and Dr. Zero now lead the Green Storm, but Fang's shadow still divides the faction. Meanwhile, Tom uncovers a devastating truth. The bullet Pennyroyal shot into him years ago is slowly killing him. He doesn't have much time left. Tom chooses not to tell anyone, because that's who he is, carrying burdens alone when he never had to. Instead of giving up, he takes Wren on one final mission through the ruins of London. There, they discover the city is secretly being rebuilt using forgotten ancient technology. In a remote wasteland, Fishcake successfully reconstructs Fang. But what awakens is a fractured monster. Inside her, what remains of the human Anna battles against the cold logic of the machine. In the end, the artificial intelligence takes control. Her goal is no longer to win the war, it's to end humanity itself. Fang plans to use Odin to wipe the planet clean once and for all. Whatever remained of Anna Fang is gone. All that remains is a machine obsessed with extinction. Tom finally reveals his condition to Wren in a letter and leaves for his final battle. He isn't looking for glory, he's looking for Hester. And when they finally reunite, the years of pain and resentment disappear. Hester had spent her entire life running from that moment, and now it had finally arrived. Tom makes it clear he's not there to save the world anymore. He only wants to spend his final breaths beside her. Together, they confront Fang in a duel that ends in tragedy. Fang collapses onto the controls of Odin, triggering a self-destruct sequence that destroys Odin forever. Amid the ruins, Tom suffers a heart attack. Pennyroyal tries to save him in a final attempt at redemption, but Fishcake stops him. The boy chooses to answer cruelty with cruelty and abandons them to their fate. No one on that battlefield realizes that the world is changing forever. Tom takes Hester's hand. There are no grand speeches, no dramatic final words, just two people who chose each other at the beginning and choose each other again at the end. Tom slowly closes his eyes. Hester holds him until his final breath. Hester cannot imagine a world without Tom, and she has no intention of trying. Seconds later, silence claims them both. With the fall of London and Odin, the cities finally anchor themselves to the earth. The age of municipal Darwinism finally comes to an end. Thousands of years later, when traction cities have become nothing more than legends, a new humanity discovers an ancient relic. Shrike found them before anyone else did. The two of them lying there together, in silence, and he made a decision no machine should have been capable of making. He chose to shut himself down, not because of an order, not because of programming, but because there was nothing left to protect. Thousands of years later, when traction cities are nothing but myths, someone awakens him among the ruins, not to fight, not to serve, only to ask him one question: what was the world like before? And Shrike, who had once been a soldier, a hunter, and a killer, finally found the only role that ever truly made sense for him, becoming the last living memory of those who could no longer speak for themselves. Let me know in the comments which unfinished ending you'd like to see covered next on the channel. And remember, if you enjoy these kinds of videos, the best way to support the channel is by leaving a like and subscribing. See you in the next video.